Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Join me in this video as we uncover the lesser known dangers of erythritol and its impact on overall health. From its potential link to stroke to its impact on gut health, we explore the latest research and provide practical advice for minimizing your risks of negative health outcomes. If you're someone who relies on erythritol as a sugar substitute, this video is a must-watch. Don't miss out on this critical information that could help you make informed choices about your health and well-being. And also remember to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Remember, it's free to do, it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps the channel. Helps me to be able to make these informed videos for you. And hit that like bell also. You'll know when I put out my next video. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and start the show. Thanks a lot. A new study found erythritol, a sugar substitute, to be associated with blood coagulants, stroke, heart attack, and mortality. It is used to add bulk and sweeten stevia, monk fruit, and keto reduced sugar products. Lead research author Dr. Stanley Hansen, head of the Center for Cardiovascular Diagnostics and Prevention at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner Research Institute, stated that the degree of risk was not minimal. According to the study, which was released on Monday in the journal Nature Medicine, those with pre-existing risk factors for heart disease, such as diabetes, were twice as likely to suffer a heart attack or stroke if they had the highest amounts of erythritol in their blood. There was an almost twofold increased risk for heart attack and stroke if your blood level of erythritol was in the top 25% compared to the lowest 25%. It is comparable to the most serious heart attack risk factors, such as diabetes, added Hazen. Further lab and animal studies provided in the publication suggested that erythritol could be facilitating blood platelet clotting. Clots can come loose and go to the brain or the heart, causing a stroke or a heart attack, respectively. This obviously sounds an alarm, said Dr. Andrew Freeman, the head of cardiovascular prevention and wellness at National Jewish Health, a hospital in Colorado. Freeman was not involved in the study. Freeman stated that there appears to be a clotting risk while using erythritol. Clearly, further study is required, but out of a surplus of caution, it would make sense to reduce erythritol in your diet for the time being. The Calorie Control Council, an industry group, responded to the study by stating to CNN that the results of the study are contrary to decades of scientific research showing reduced calorie sweeteners like erythritol are safe, as evidenced by global regulatory permissions for their use in foods and beverages, according to Robert Rankin, the council's executive director. The participants in the intervention were already at an increased risk for cardiovascular events, so the results quote, should not be generalized to the broader population, unquote, Rankin said. Having not seen the paper, the European Association of Polyol Manufacturers declined to comment. What exactly is erythritol? Erythritol is a sugar alcohol and a carbohydrate that is naturally present in many fruits and vegetables, just as sorbitol and xylitol. Almost 70% of the sweetness of sugar is present, and scientists say it has no calories. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol that is artificially produced in large amounts, has no residual aftertaste, doesn't cause blood sugar to increase, and has less laxative impact than certain other sugar alcohols. Hazen, who also serves as the director of the Cleveland Clinic's Institute for Microbiome and Human Health, stated that erythritol has a similar appearance to sugar, a similar flavor, and may be used in baking. He said it became the food industry's darling, an incredibly well-liked ingredient to keto and other low-carb goods and foods promoted to individuals with diabetes. Some of the goods with diabetes labels we examined had more erythritol by weight than any other item. According to Hazen, erythritol is also the main component in many natural stevia and monk fruit products. Stevia and monk fruit require only a modest amount in any product because they are 200 to 400 times sweeter than sugar. Erythritol, which makes up the majority of the product, gives it the crystalline look and feel that customers expect from sugar. A surprise finding. According to Hazen, the revelation of the link between erythritol and cardiovascular problems was wholly unanticipated. Even so, we weren't searching for it. Hansen's study had a straightforward objective: to identify unidentified molecules or compounds in a person's blood that would indicate their likelihood of suffering a heart attack, stroke, or passing away within the following 3 years. To achieve this, the researchers started examining 1,157 blood samples from heart disease at-risk individuals obtained between 2004 and 2011. Hazen stated, "We identified this molecule that seemed to have a large role, but we didn't know what it was. Finally, we realized it was the sweetener erythritol." He said that although the human body normally produces erythritol, It does so in extremely small quantities that cannot be explained for the levels they found. Hazen's team studied an additional set of blood samples from over 2,100 people in the United States and an additional 833 samples collected by associates in Europe through 2018 to corroborate the results. According to Hazen, around 75% of the individuals in all three communities had high blood pressure or cardiovascular disease, and about 15% had diabetes. Males who were 60 or older made up the majority. Researchers discovered that higher levels of erythritol were associated with a higher risk of heart attack, stroke, or death within 3 years in all three groups. Nevertheless, why? In order to find out, scientists conducted more laboratory and animal testing. They found that erythritol was introducing greater thrombosis, or blood clotting, Hazen said. Without clotting, cuts and wounds would cause the human body to bleed to death. Internally, the same procedure is continually taking place. Our blood arteries are constantly under strain. We spring leaks, and blood platelets are always patching these holes, Hazen stated. However, he added, the size of the trigger that excites the cells determines the size of the clot that is formed by the platelets. For instance, if the trigger is just 10%, you will only experience a 10% clot. But what we're observing with erythritol is that the platelets become extremely responsive. A little 10% stimulant induces 90 to 100% clot formation, Hazen said. I think that there is adequate data here to suggest stay away from erythritol until additional studies are done, Hazen said of those who are susceptible to clotting, heart attacks, and strokes, such as those with underlying cardiac illness or those who have diabetes. Chemistry professor Oliver Jones from RMIT University in Victoria, Australia, pointed out that the study had merely shown a correlation, not a cause and effect relationship. Jones, who was not engaged in the study, stated that the relationship between erythritol and clotting risk was discovered but was not proof that a connection existed. Any potential, and as of this writing unsubstantiated, dangers of excess erythritol would also need to be evaluated against the very real health concerns of excess glucose consumption, Jones added. Healthy participants. In the study's last component, 8 healthy volunteers drank a beverage containing 30 grams of erythritol, which is the amount that many Americans eat, according to the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, which analyzes American nutrition annually, according to Hazen. The following 3 days' worth of blood testing monitored erythritol levels and clotting risk. 30 grams was sufficient to cause a 1,000-fold increase in erythritol levels in the blood, according to Hazen. Over the following 2 to 3 days, it remained above the level required to cause the increased clotting risk. How much erythritol is in 30 grams? Hazen said it was like consuming a pint of keto ice cream. If you look at the nutrition label on many keto ice creams, you'll notice phrases like erythritol or lowering sugar. You'll discover that an average pint has between 26 and 45 grams, he added. There is no official accepted daily intake, or ADI, established by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration or the European Food Safety Authority that deems erythritol to be widely recognized as safe. Because erythritol is already readily available, science must investigate it more thoroughly and quickly, National Jewish Health Freeman stated. If it is detrimental, we should know about it. Hazen concurred, saying, "I generally don't stand upon a pedestal and sound the alarm. Nonetheless, I believe that this is something that requires thorough examination." Okay, thank you for watching this video on the potential dangers of erythritol. While erythritol is often promoted as a safe and natural alternative to sugar, there is still much we don't know about its long-term effects on our health. This small study suggests that erythritol may have negative impacts on gut bacteria and metabolism, and more research is needed to fully understand its risks. In the meantime, it's important to be cautious about using erythritol in excess and to consider alternative sweeteners or to reduce your overall sugar consumption. Stay tuned for updates on this important topic, and thanks again for tuning in. See you next time.